Welcome to the Tech on Toast podcast. We are the home of hospitality tech. The Tech on Toast podcast is brought to you today by our friends at Lightspeed. The holidays are here and your restaurant is buzzing, but are you ready for the rush? The festive season is make or break time for many restaurants, filled with non-stop tableside service, kitchen chaos, and complex reservations. But what if you had a secret weapon? Well, Lightspeed is that weapon. It's the ultimate point of sale and payments platform that helps your team deliver seamless service and incredible experiences. Imagine your staff taking orders and payments right at the table with Tableside, or having your front and back of house perfectly in sync during peak hours. Wouldn't that be nice? Lightspeed gives you the tools to not only survive the holidays, but truly shine, all while saving time, reducing errors, and keeping guests coming back for more. This season, let your tech do the work for you. Close the year strong with Lightspeed Restaurant.
It's a dedicated device, a dedicated product for the hospitality industry.
I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, I would be like, really? Do you think? But actually, it makes sense
because we've got imagery on there. I think it's really easy for people to kind of understand what they want to order. And then once it's processed, you can make the payment either before the order comes to you or after. The staff get their own watch that we give them, and they get different notifications.
Look, I'm fascinated. I'd love to just watch customers, how they interact with it.
We've seen people of different levels and ability of understanding technology who are just so comfortable with using the device.
I think people want to control their experience.
Average order value is increased compared to an existing ordering platform.
And then in the week when you got a Monday lunch, no way am I putting 3 on just because it might happen.
Yeah, exactly.
1 and Kate would be great. Welcome to the next episode of the Tech and Toast podcast. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Manny, Costin, country manager at Cape Media. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Have you flown in today just for this?
Oh, I would love to say I did. Yeah, I used all my air miles. No. Train from Birmingham.
Oh, is that where you're based?
Yeah, Sutton Coldfield. So
very nice. I opened a college. I have many colleges there. One in Solihull, I think it was.
Okay, yeah.
One in Grand Central.
Yeah.
And one in Brindley Place. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was horrific, all of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I don't think the one in Grand Central exists anymore.
Yeah, no, they've all gone. I mean, we lost, I think.
I don't know if Brindley does either.
Yeah, we had 100 and then we went down to 30. So after my time, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
It was all good when I was there.
If you were there, we'd be at 200 now, right?
Tell us a little bit about you before we get into Cape Media and look at the product a little bit. Tell me a little bit about you. What's your background? How have you ended up here?
Oh yeah, it's an interesting story. So before this, I, as usual, just leaving university, going to job after job, and I ended up in Sutton Coldfield working for National Express for several years as a experience manager, customer experience manager.
When anyone says that, I want to break into song. You know that the advert they had. Remember?
Which one?
Am I really old? The National Express advert. I'm not even going to sing it.
Remember those.
No, all right. I'm not going to bring that up again then, and I'm not singing. Right, carry on.
Yeah. So National Express, and then I ended up working for one of their suppliers called U-Track Software. It was really good. Great experience for me. It was kind of the first time breaking into startups. We built a team. Country manager, helped build a team. From 4, we ended up being 18 in the UK, and that grew and grew. But then COVID came.
Old chestnut.
Yeah, absolutely. Knocked out public transport for a long time. We were.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, as a result, I was on the firing line for it. But that's okay. And that was, I think, January 2021. And then it was, I started doing it. One of my friends who I did some work with National Express, he was a similar situation with airlines, which again, so we were both kind of
I feel like both of you had bad ideas to join this too.
yeah, we did, only if we knew. And then we started doing some work for Cape Media around the gamification side of it, so the entertainment. We knew a lot of people within the entertainment world. We did a big project for National Express called Viewer, which is the onboard entertainment videos and advertising. And he got me on board doing a bit of contracting work, and then it was a case of, hey, we want to expand into the UK. You seem like the right guy, and here we are. Nearly 5 years later.
He's 5 years in. I didn't realise.
2026, January 2026.
And what's the story? I mean, no, because I'm going to hold this quickly and show.
Yeah.
We'll get into the product properly later, but I just want to show this because this is the lovely. You see that well, Gracie? Yeah. So this is what you'll see. ELN are customers of yours, aren't they?
Yeah.
How do you say ELNN? How do you say their brand?
Well, some of them say Elan.
I say Elan, yeah.
Yeah, Elan, ELNN.
I and Alex owns Elan, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I met her right at the start of her journey when she was just one site, and I was going to be a consultant for her, but guess what happened? Pandemic. So I was going to help her as the pandemic hit. But really interesting brand, and I've met one of your team actually in Elan talk with this on the table, and it was really interesting seeing it in seeing it in action, how the waiters also behave around it. But tell us a little bit around the background of the product, why it came to be.
Yeah, look, I wish I could tell you one of those, amazing founder stories that,
It's okay, you can just tell the truth.
Yeah, exactly. we saw all these different things going on. Ultimately, it was our owners. They were in the States. I think they were on a business trip around 2017 or just before. And there were two companies that were doing this over there quite successfully, Ziosk and Presto. Yeah. Actually, Presto's kind of changed a little bit there. What they do now, they're more into, more QSR and drive-through. But Ziosk remained as a main supplier of this kind of product solution. So we saw it over there and we're like, why are we not doing this?
Yeah.
And then it was just a case of looking at that and going, hey, this makes sense.
And you would think, my background's operations, right? And if you told me this would be on the table even, 10 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, I would be like, really? Do you think? But actually, it makes sense. It really does. And seeing it in act, I think people have to see it with. First time I saw it with the waiters, that was where I was really impressed, the way they kind of work around it.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were talking about.
No. So obviously we saw the product and then we spent several years kind of refining it, and then we launched it the company launched in 2019 officially. And the UK started around 2021 again, and then 2022 is when we probably started getting a few smaller clients to test the market. But the European market is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's quite fragmented, isn't it, in terms of the type of business you would sell to?
Yeah, absolutely, and especially in the UK. I mean, the strengths of the solution is about being integrated. You know what it's like. You bring in a lot of tech, you bring in a lot of change to the restaurants. And then you got to get the staff on board. You got to get senior people on board. And if you bring in too much change and if it's a fragmented system already, then it's not going to work. So we from the get-go, it's about being integrated to the EPOS solution straight away. And by doing that, it makes it easier to onboard staff, easier to onboard stakeholders, because it's like, okay, look, we take your menu, we make it look pretty on our solution, we give you the benefits, we inject that menu back. But then you land in the UK and it's, who do you work with? This person. Who do you work with? Oh, I've got a different POS. And then you realize that, 300 plus probably POS systems.
I think Dojo told me there's 600 in the UK or something like that.
Here we are. And then there's payment providers, right? It feels like a new one's popping up every day.
Well, and the POS guys are now becoming payment providers themselves.
Becoming payment providers, absolutely. Yeah, everybody's tapping Adyen or some other company to build their own white label solution. So it's
and you can pay on it, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the kind of one of the unique selling points.
Yeah,
it's a dedicated device, a dedicated product for the hospitality industry. It sits on a table. It's wireless. It operates the whole day. You take the battery out, you charge it, you put it back. There's no barriers to entry when it comes to ordering, and that's what gets us the usage. So
do you think people prefer something physical to touch? Yeah. This is where I was really impressed by, because I was like, because on a QR code, I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm still doing it myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That is obviously I'm doing it myself, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm having to put the work in when I'm out trying to relax. But
right.
With that, it's different, because I feel like I'm still invested in the brand, because it's quite brand heavy, isn't it?
It's not so first of all, it's not your device.
Yeah.
It feels a bit more social, because let's say me and you were using this right now. It's not like I'm on my phone, you're on your phone.
Yeah.
And like you're looking at a menu, and which is fine. I mean, people look at paper menu with ours. It depends on how many people are at the table, but because it's there and you look at it and you're like, okay, it's you know, larger screen, easier to use. I'm not asking you for your whole date of birth, your mother's maiden name.
Yes.
Tell me everything about you so I can just allow you to make a payment.
Yeah.
Or make an order. It's simple, and that's what we wanted to achieve.
And people like to touch. I think one of the things I like about it is that it's physical, right? So you can get them. And if you're sitting at a table, depends who you're with. So if I'm with my missus, we've been out a lot, right, over 20 years. So occasionally I might get bored. So it's great to have something to look at and kind of browse. And I know you're saying the same with the paper menu, but this is the new version, right?
Yeah, new version. You got imagery on there, so you're in a location you've never been to before, and you're questioning the menu.
Yeah.
Shall I order this? Shall I order that? What does it look like? Then you can see it. You've got everything that you would expect from a menu. You've got the images. You can have videos on there for advertising, so they can be on a loop. Because we've got imagery on there, I think it's really easy for people to kind of understand what they want to order. If you're going to a restaurant that you haven't been to before and you're questioning what's on the menu, what dish you'd like to order, you can see the image.
Yeah, especially desserts, I imagine. Like,
for sure.
Bring it to life, right?
Yeah,
that's one thing people always struggle with, to get that third, obviously starter and main, but to get that third course sometimes, or to get that extra sale. It really helps when you can, because it's very hard to say to your kid, you can't have that when it's there's a huge, beautiful ice cream or something staring at them.
Exactly, and that's why it encourages the upsell.
Yeah.
Because it's there, right? Anytime you want something more, depending on because the beauty of our system is you can either pay before, so pay before you get your food, or you could keep the bill open, which is not, no other technology out there does that at the moment, unless you're ordering with the staff. Yeah. So you can just keep adding, right? At the end, when you're ready to pay, tap your card, tap your phone, and you're done.
It's really nice. I'm going to show, while you're talking, I'm going to show
Yeah.
Well, I'll try not to break it, but I'm going to show it to the camera. So basically I click on it, and so this is Heavenly Desserts. Yeah, so we're just launching now. We're rolling out Heavenly Desserts across their 65 sites. So yeah, tap on order. Oh, cool, right, so you can see the drinks. Yeah. Yeah, so we can order anything on here, desserts, obviously, Heavenly Desserts, so you've got drinks, let me see. What's this play? What's play? Yeah, so that's really cool. So it's we have a bunch of games on there. I don't know if the games are showing up on there or not. Yeah, we have a bunch of games on there that are available to play. So it's trying to enhance the dining experience for families. So they can, cool. Kids whilst they're waiting for the food, they can play. Adults alike too. It depends. I'd do it. Yeah. You can obviously order here, so I'm on the order screen, so I can order. I'm going to go for a starter. Yeah, you got your usual modifiers that will pop up if there's any available for the dish. Do you want this? Do you want that extra? Suggested dishes, cool. And then all of that gets sent to the till, and then once it's processed, you can make the payment either before the order comes to you or after, and you just you keep the bill open and keep adding to it. Yeah, I was going to say, so I can keep going on this. I can go back to drinks. And absolutely. Yeah, that's the whole idea. Yeah. Right. And then payments, so I can go down here and pay. Yeah. Obviously my bill's empty because I haven't put anything in. But you can split the bill as well, I can see. You can split the bill evenly or choose the item. Obviously, when we work with restaurants, we will not only integrate with the EPOS solution, but we will also try and integrate with their loyalty system. Very cool. So again, you can scan QR code. What's this call waiter button here? When you tap it, somebody comes over to your table. The staff get their own watch that we give them, and they get different notifications. And I noticed there. I'll get back to my mic. Yeah. I noticed there you've got an allergens button as well. So do you integrate with, or is it what the brand has in place? Is that what you would normally? Yeah, I mean, ultimately we would integrate to what they have in place with the EPOS solution. But when it comes to allergens, we try and keep it quite simple. We don't want to be. You don't want to take the responsibility away from. No, we don't want that. Yeah. So what we would always advise is that with any solution as such is, if you do have an allergy, speak to the member of staff. So when you first start to order on our tablet, it will straight away pop up with the allergy message. If you do have an allergy, please speak to a member of the staff. And then if you don't, you can continue ordering. If you do, you can call over a member of the staff. Okay. But we also encourage the locations that don't just sit them down and disappear. If you're bringing a guest down to their table, just give them a 10-second brief. Set the scene. Yeah. What is this solution? What does it do? How is it benefiting them? And if they do have an allergy or they have an issue, to call them over. And what are the key benefits then? So you've got obviously, because there's two sides here to the coin, isn't there? There's the customer benefit and then there's the employee benefit, and so I suppose the brand benefit. Yeah. What are the two different? So from a customer's perspective, then you're ordering in your own time. You've got control. So if you're in a restaurant or it's really busy, or the staff are short-staffed, for example, or they're not paying the attention that you would expect of them to do when you're there, you don't have to wait for them to order. Just order in your own time. I think that's key, right? Especially with some of the bigger brands, if you think about it. So you mentioned America. I'm pretty sure Hard Rock in the States were looking at something like this when I was there. I think they're using it. They're using it, are they? Yeah. So it was definitely something on their radar, purely because their service standards were quite high. Yeah. And they were probably struggling to reach volume. When they were at volume, they just couldn't hit their peaks, and I think they needed an assistance and a virtual assistance to get them over the line, and I'm not surprised that they've gone down that route. So I can see the advantage there, and they love their brand heavy, so that would really speak. And they've got the rock shop and the retail and all the stuff they do, so I can see why that would work. Yeah, absolutely. So from a guest perspective, then when it comes to payment, you've been at lots. I'm sure you've been in a restaurant where you're wanting to pay. Yeah. You're wanting to pay. Yeah. And you're asking for the bill. The bill comes, and then you're waiting for the card machine. Yeah. And then that might arrive 10 minutes later. Oh God, 20 minutes later, or whenever they might bring it to you. With this, again, you're in control. You want to pay. And is there a fear of someone paying and leaving, and someone, there is. Yeah. But, when people say that, I said, well, it happens now. Yeah. If somebody wants to leave, they will. Yeah. If you're busy and you're not watching that table, they leave now. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's very true. Exactly. We have tried to introduce
a few methods to support that. So you can see that you got an LED light on the top of the device. That's got different status lights depending on...
Okay, so that would be like a warning. So if it was red, I don't know, it may not page yet or not closed or whatever.
In a way, yeah. So we have different statuses. So we can use visualization to support the staff understanding if an order's been paid.
So if you're at the host stand, you could probably get a scan of the floor, right, and have a look at what's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Then there's the second element where we were talking about the watches that the waiting staff will receive from us. We can send a notification when something's been paid as well. So when that table's paid, we can notify the staff to let them know table 5's paid.
Very
so
cool.
Again, we can't eliminate it.
Yeah,
I don't think you ever will.
No. I mean, if people don't want to pay, they'll find a way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's why we also have the you can either pay before or you can pay after. In some restaurants, depending on their location or the kind of clientele they may have, or just general fear around the product, we try and support that by saying, oh, look, just start with pay before first if you wish, switch it to pay after later on. And test it.
Yeah, so then you've got that, you eradicate that kind of fear as you call it.
Exactly.
And what about from the employee point? What do they think about it? Because obviously it's like they're another friend who sits on the table for them.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes a friend.
Yeah.
At the beginning, it's a bit of an enemy.
Oh, really?
No,
I imagine they freak out a little bit, do they?
It depends. It depends on who's managing that restaurant, on how well they are. They will adjust to it, because first of all they probably see us as, you're trying to get rid of my job, and
true, yeah.
But then they get accustomed to the solution, and then they will quickly realize that actually it benefits them. We've had many scenarios where the staff, they're short of staff, right? Somebody calls in sick, they're getting destroyed during a lunchtime period because they didn't anticipate the amount of footfall. And then this becomes the best friend. Yeah. Because when they're still able to provide the same level of service when they're on their own or with less amount of bodies, and customers are ordering, customers are paying, and you're delivering the food, it benefits them hugely. Then
I think for me, that's the single biggest use case benefit for me. Is I've run loads of shifts in my career, right? And it's always there's an hour that's a pain. Yeah. There's an hour of that shift. We're at peak where you've got 2 staff, you probably need 3, but you're going to get through it with 2. And the evening, same. You're closing down towards, everyone know what I'm talking about here, 9 to 11 p.m. You kind of cut one off, so you're getting quiet. Then all of a sudden you get a 20 or a 10 walk in or whatever. And it just becomes a little bit stretched and a little bit painful. That takes the pain away. And I just think, as much as people will freak out going, oh, it's a digital bot on my table or whatever it might be, the lack of complaints or the protection it'll give you against feedback, negative feedback, and negative, from timings to food quality, everything, because everything will continue flowing even though you're short-staffed.
Exactly.
Which for me, it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, and it's great. And this is the kind of education piece we're trying to encourage operators to get behind. Is like, look, this will benefit you. But until they have it on, we always say, until you put it on your table and until you test it, and this is why we offer the free trials for the bigger operators, is put it on your table and test it, and you will start to see the difference.
I mean, I'm fascinated by the way. I mean, obviously the employees, I've already stated where I see the advantage, but from seeing it, I'm fascinated. I'd love to just watch customers, how they interact with it, and just almost don't tell them anything, and just let them sit there and be query around it. And I know that doesn't make sense. You have to educate people, but it'd be good to see them, right, and just see how they naturally use the product.
Absolutely. And you know what's fascinating? I think it was the fact that it doesn't matter the age. Yeah, we've seen people of different levels and ability of understanding technology who are just so comfortable with using the device, who will just tap away and understand it. Yeah, young, old, doesn't matter.
It's because there's no pressure.
There's
no
pressure.
Yeah,
right?
You can just use it at your own pace and kind of do what you want. And I imagine is there potentially a capacity issue then? Because if you're allowing lots of orders to go to the kitchen potentially, because obviously you don't have a downtime because you've got these things on the table. and that could be that is a fear. Yeah. But again, putting it into the locations that we've been into so far. I've already said that at the beginning, but then they never struggled. I mean, obviously they're making more money if you're doing that as well. So, absolutely. I guess that's a good problem to have. It's a good problem. And then, you have to understand, okay, well, look, I might not need as many bodies on the front, but I need more bodies in the back. But also don't expect that every customer is going to sit down and order at the same pace as somebody else. Yeah. So you're not going to get that, 20 orders in one go. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's very true. And I imagine through the day there might be a lot of hours where no one even uses it, right? It just sits there, and then it will do its thing when it's needed, right? Exactly, and that's the benefit. I'm sure, like you say, from experience in creating shifts, you might have had that situation where you put 2 on, or 3 on, and it's quiet, and you're like, well, I have the stuff here. You have to send somebody home, right? Yeah. In this instance,
you don't need that.
Yeah.
You know, you could be more flexible in terms of what
I
you
think
do
you could
for
be a
those,
bit more gung-ho, right?
Yeah, you can say, you know what, no, actually I'm 2 now.
Yeah.
You know, or 1, because I know it's going to be quiet. And if it does pick up a little bit, I'm safe in the knowledge that I've got the solution that will support me for that moment where it picks up.
And that's where I think you can redeploy the labor, right? So where you're saying about it's not taking people's jobs, actually you could say like, I know I can be a bit braver on my lunch times and just have 2 in the 2. Does it have a name? I know it's Kate Media, but I want to give it I feel bad just referring to it. Kate, yes. So sorry, Kate. Yeah. So, but you know, having Kate on the table is like you can take more risk, right? When you've got that short window, when you've got a 12 till 2 shift.
Exactly.
Whereas in the Saturday night, when you need your whole squad, everyone to make as much money as possible, you can kind of just bleed a bit of labour back in there and be a bit braver there. For me, it's just about making sensible decisions around where you can take risk and where you can't. I mean, I'd never risk a Friday or Saturday night or a Sunday lunch. Yeah. Staff up, make the money, and then in the week when you got a Monday lunch, no way am I putting 3 on just because it might happen.
Yeah, exactly.
1 and Kate would be great.
Exactly. It rhymes that.
And what about scalability then? So if obviously you're talking to some fairly large brands, I won't bring them up who you're talking to, but I know you're working with some enterprise brands.
Yeah.
Is that where they see the real benefit in the scalability of it in terms of how quickly you can roll out?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, we didn't create the product anticipated for the enterprise sector at first, but it just naturally grew. It just naturally became that, because it was the enterprises that were seeing the benefit more than the smaller guys. But you know, I can say the name Heavily Desserts because we're working with them, and you saw them in the picture there. You know, they've got 65 locations. They're actually a franchisee model. You know, they're doing a great job, and we're rolling out with all the different franchisees.
Yeah.
And that's a medium-sized business. So we can work at medium level, we can work at enterprise level.
And I can really see that with it, because one of the things we didn't really talk about was the marketing aspect of having it on the table.
Yeah.
Your brand can live. It's like a lot of people talk with online ordering, right? That you have to keep the brand so you don't feel like you're in a strange place when you're ordering. So you feel like, you know, Domino's do it the best probably in their app. But like you want to stay within the brand, the reason you like going there, or the reason you're there, that you feel like you're still in the same place. And I think for desserts, it just, as I said before, it makes total sense, right? If I'm seeing something beautiful
the images just you're hooked, and you're like, right, I want to, you know, you anticipate ordering 1, but you end up ordering 2 or 3 because you want to try everything, right?
It's true. And what about going forward then? How do you kind of, I suppose, promote engagement, keep the product relevant, and make sure that you kind of the products keeps serving what the industry needs?
Yeah, well, look, I think the first thing is getting the basics right?
Yeah.
You know, let's make sure that you can order seamlessly, you can pay seamlessly, and then we build on top. How do we do that? Different integrations. So you've got your loyalty integrated on there. You're trying to make this a place where if the staff member does not have to come to the table to support you with something that's not related to the ordering element, such as the food you need, etc., then it's not doing the job that it's meant to be doing. That's why we integrate in the loyalty side. Yeah. But then there's other things that we're doing. So we're not only are we taking, first of all, we take feedback. So obviously when we're working with the type of customers that we're working with at the moment, there's a lot of feedback that they want, a lot of personalization that we bring to them as part of the solution. But then we're looking at things of how can we implement AI? Does AI make sense? Can you do voice ordering? Will it work in an environment as loud as a restaurant?
What does that look like? Have you tested that yet?
Very little at the moment. Okay. I think we're getting there, but we're probably not at a place where it's mainstream.
It's going to be difficult, isn't it? Because I know they had a lot of difficulty with drive-through originally in the States when they started it. But I think they're getting there now.
Yeah, but this is at a table. Yeah. You got a lot of voices.
Yeah, if it's a Hard Rock, for instance, like they've got the music blaring.
Absolutely. So, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see where the market's going. Then you've got, the payment technology, which is obviously softPOS is taking over, is growing massively at the moment, and that's the technology we're implementing. So that's why you can tap on the screen. Before we couldn't do that. Our first generation device was call it like a terminal. You could insert your card. We had a full, a pin pad at the bottom, and then we've radically moved away from that because we saw where softPOS is going. We've got things like the likes of understanding the reporting side and the data. What customers are ordering? How can we improve the ordering?
What's the back end look like then? For if I'm a customer, what kind of stuff can I?
Yeah, so we've got our administration panel, which is kind of like your I call it the beautification element of Kate Media, because we're taking all the raw data from the till side, and then that gets injected into our platform.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can create your categories, your subcategories. You've got your imagery. There's a lot that we take from the till. So we take the menu, we take the name, we take the price, we take the description, but we don't take a structure, because the structure on the till is completely different to what you expect the customer to the flow to be. So you can do that all in the.
How do you do that then? So when you're onboarding someone, is it quite a lengthy process of you guys understanding what?
It depends.
Or are you the expert? Like, as in, do you guys know where customers will go on the product?
Yeah, I think ultimately we will work with them.
Yeah.
You know, they'll dictate how the flow should be, but we try and encourage them to keep it really simple. Don't suggest water with everything. Don't suggest coffee on coffee. Don't implement those mistakes. You want the customer to order as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, have the choice.
Yeah, in like an intuitive way.
Yeah, it's an intuitive way. And then, we've got search functionality, we've got suggested dishes, and that's where we're working in the future to automate that and actually enhance that with potentially AI, to go, right, what are customers ordering? These, for example, they all, this is the best. Over the last week, this dish has been ordered so many times. Like you go on websites and you go, 25 people are looking at this, or 25 people.
Yeah, Uber does it,
this.
doesn't it? I think Uber Eats does it. Like, it says all your previously ordered stuff.
Exactly. We're trying to enhance that, and personalize that. But and we're working with partners to do it. Either it's a partner because they have a loyalty system that recognizes the user.
I was going to say, can you recognize? Yeah. So you can recognize me coming back into Elan and ordering again.
If you have the loyalty system that supports that, then absolutely, you can scan scan in, and then that, kind of like a check-in.
How much
that will give you all the info and reward points, what you've ordered before. Yeah.
Okay. And how much of a surprise is the integration part for you coming into? Because as in, not even surprise, but it's a lot of work, right? I presume around work, because there's thousands of partners in tech right now.
Yeah, obviously we got to be quite strategic who we integrate to. We can't integrate to everybody, and that's why our focus has been on the enterprise or SME market, because we integrate with one provider. They have a huge pool of customers. We can start working with them. It can be challenging. It's always down to the EPOS system that we're working with. How good are they? How good are the APIs? How good can we make the integration? What limitations do they have versus another EPOS supplier? One will work with one and they do this really well. We work with another and they do this really well that the other one cannot do really well. And you're always going to find that. I don't think there is one tech provider out there that's going to give you is the gold standard for everything.
No, but you are right.
But we and that's what we try and do. We work very closely with partners, third-party partners, and that's what we like to do, because we want to give a solution that makes sense. We're not here to. So this is another point to make, that we're not an EPOS provider.
Yeah.
We're not a card payment solution. We just take those two. Put it in a.
You project it.
Right? So
place.
From an EPOS perspective, actually, we're an enabler for them to create more stickiness.
Yeah.
Because now they've got a solution that's embedded with their EPOS system. It's embedded with that card provider or acquiring provider, should I say? And then it's better. It's better for them. It's better for everybody. The customer gets good experience. The staff are happy. The business gets their benefits. And the EPOS doesn't need to change, right?
Yeah, makes sense. And what I suppose, before I let you go, what's the one thing that once you implement somewhere, once you're on board, what's the one thing that people say within the first couple of weeks, like that makes you happy? There must be some feedback you get pretty quick into the experience.
I think the biggest feedback for me, and I guess the one that kind of tells me that this is working well, apart from the benefits that the business provide, the businesses receive, is the amount of usage.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. Yeah.
Over 60%. Literally
crazy.
Can be. We see it. Day one, we might be at 40%.
Yeah.
Day two, that starts to go to 50. By the first week, we're over 60%. And that's a testament to how easy it is.
Can you get? You're getting up into the 80s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Our last trials that we had with Heavily Desserts, and we have a white paper on this, is that we were seeing around 80%.
It's crazy.
80%.
In a good way.
of orders were through Cape Media. And
I think it says a lot about, before we finish it says a lot about the customer, doesn't it, as well? Where they're at in technology, as well as what you're trying to do, which is create great product. I think it won't work without them joining in, right? There's no point. You could build the best product in the world. If they don't want to use it, they won't use it. So I think that adoption is a real strong signal to the market that actually that's what they want, or that's how they'd like to control. I think you used the word control before. I think people want to control their experience.
And you see it through, you've got, all the research that's coming into the market where it's saying, Gen Zs want to do this. Millennials want to do this, but ultimately everybody's talking the same language, which is I want control of my ordering. I want self-ordering systems. If I want to order with the staff, I can. But if I want to do it in my own time, I can. And this is what this solution supports.
And there must be a million times in this industry when someone sat at the table thinking, "Oh, did you order the garlic bread? Oh no, I forgot. Oh, hang on." Trying to find the waiter or whatever, and they're busy, right?
And those are missed sales opportunities.
Exactly. Just on the floor, that's money on the floor, and it must be infuriating. But the problem is you can't even report it. You can't even talk about it because you don't know.
Nobody knows.
It's a secret. It's like the best kept secret ever. So those conversations stop happening.
Exactly.
Did you order the garlic bread? I'll do it now.
And then there's the flip side of it. If a staff member is busy, they're probably not going to spend as much time with that table.
Yeah, of course.
They're not going to ask, "Hey, would you like this? Can I recommend this?" Maybe they will at the beginning. Then it gets busier. Then they might ask once or twice. Then they'll stop. And then it's like, how quickly can I get rid of that table so I can bring the next one because I've got a queue of people waiting to sit down. This will always ask the same questions. And that's key because
it doesn't drop the ball, doesn't call in sick.
When you've got 60, 80% usage and you're asking that customer the same question, it's like cold calling, right? You might ring 20 people. You might ask the same questions. 10 of them might say no, but 10 will say yes. But if you're not asking those questions, they're not going to say yes or no.
I imagine then taking it out, right? If you've got 80% adoption, I'm not doing an advocating media here, but I'm just saying, but imagine if you've got it in there and you've got 80% adoption, then you take it out. What the hell happens then?
Oh, well, number one, that stops.
Boom. Average spend.
Exactly. Average order value drops. We consistently see around 10%. That's minimum. We have locations that are on 36%. We have locations that have actually reached 45%.
Wow.
Average order value is increased compared to an existing ordering platform. It could be because they were going to the till, and they were ordering at the till, and then when you do that, you could see that actually our average order value was relatively low.
I mean, all this research is here from kiosks, right? From 5-10 years ago when McDonald's were first, obviously, but everyone else followed, and I think kiosks proved that there is lots of proof now that actually when you allow someone to do their own order, they're going to order an extra side or an extra drink, whatever it might be.
And what I love, you asked me about what I love to kind of helps me and makes me feel good when I launch it at a location. And I forgot to say that one of them is not being competitive here or biased, but I love the fact that when the QR code solution that's installed on the location, the usage drops dramatically and we go up.
Yeah, because that happens, right? Because you're in there against. I guess most people have got a QR. Well, not most, but a lot of people still got a QR code ordering solution.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with them or anything as such, but there's a difference between, and it shows the behavior of the guest.
For me, it's
like, I'm gonna get my phone out. I've got
it's the physicality, isn't it? That I think people they probably enjoy.
Exactly.
And also the games.
Bill. The games.
Look, super fascinating. I think we'll see it in the wild. If you have Heavenly Desserts, see it in there. Elan, you can see
Heavenly
it.
Desserts, ELNN, GBK, Giraffe South Bank. We're doing some more stuff with them. We've got some great trials to end off the year. Some relatively large customers that we're working with at the moment. So hopefully we'll announce something soon. And then,
then you can have a week off, Manny.
Oh, honestly. You say that, but a week off is not
You
really
need your own Kate. You've got a Kate.
I have, If a week off is taxing kids around. That's what my week off is.
Look, if anyone wants to get in touch and find out more about the product, obviously you're on our marketplace, one of our approved partners actually. If they want to get in touch direct, can they hassle you on LinkedIn or find you on a website?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find myself or Gemma, who is our enterprise sales manager. You can jump on our website. Obviously, you can look through some of the material on there. There's a contact form.
It's a great video to watch.
Absolutely.
Nice video, case study with ELN.
Yeah, that was with you guys as well. Yeah, lovely. Yeah,
Let's pick myself up. But look, super interesting to meet you. Thank you for bringing Kate in. I appreciate it. Even though that demo might be horrific, I'll make it look good.
No, that's okay.
All right, thanks for that. That was Manny, everyone. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.